All right, so ready for another deep dive. Today we're digging into a modern-day treasure hunt.
Treasure hunt. You have my attention.
Well, maybe not pirates and buried chests, but we're talking gold mines and a company called Goldshore Resources Inc.
Gold mining. Now that's a topic that always glitters. What's the story? What are we diving into?
We've got some really interesting news from Stockwatch about Goldshore Resources, and I think it'll be really interesting to unpack it all.
Sounds good to me. Gold's always a hot topic.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So to start, Goldshore Resources Inc. is completely focused on finding and developing gold assets. They're all about unearthing that golden potential.
Finding gold takes some serious expertise. What's the team behind this company like?
No, they've got the brains for sure. One of the leaders is a geologist who is actually the global head of structural geology.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
Right. Get this. They worked for the world's largest gold company.
Now that's a resume builder if I've ever heard one.
Talk about experience. And to add to their credibility, they've also got some major backing.
Who's backing them?
A huge Canadian private equity firm is supporting them.
Wow, so it's not just some small-time operation. Private equity firms don't just throw money around. They're always looking for those really big opportunities.
Exactly. It seems like they see a real golden opportunity here, pun intended.
I like it. So they've got the expertise and the financial backing. What about the actual project? Where are they digging?
That's the cool part. Their main project is the Moss Gold Project, and it's located in Ontario, Canada.
Ontario, Canada. Interesting. You don't usually think of Canada as a gold mine hotspot.
Exactly. But their location is actually really strategic.
Strategic in what way?
Well, for one, the Moss Gold Project is super close to the Trans-Canada Highway, which makes logistics way easier.
That makes sense. Good infrastructure is key.
And they've got really easy access to hydroelectric power, too.
Oh, wow. So that's great for the environment and for keeping their costs down. Smart. What else makes their location so good?
This is a big one for mining projects, having supportive local communities and a skilled workforce nearby, and Goldshore has that in spades.
You're right. That can seriously make or break a project, no matter how promising it looks on paper.
Absolutely. Having those strong local partnerships can make all the difference. So we've talked about location, but what about the gold itself? Have they actually found anything substantial at the Moss project?
Oh, they found gold, all right. And a lot of it, potentially. First of all, you got to admire their dedication. They've invested over $60 million in exploration so far.
Wow, that's a serious chunk of change. What kind of exploration are we talking about?
They're doing a ton of drilling to get a real sense of what's down there. We're talking about 80,000 meters of drilling.
80,000 meters. I can't even picture that.
It's hard to wrap your head around, right? Imagine 8 Mount Everests stacked on top of each other. That's how much they've drilled.
That's an incredible amount of drilling. All that to find gold. But has it paid off? What do the results look like?
The results have been really impressive. Their latest resource estimate showed a massive potential.
How massive are we talking?
They've got an estimated 1.54 million ounces of indicated gold resources.
Okay, that sounds like a lot, but I have to admit, I don't really know what that means. How much gold is that really?
It's hard to conceptualize those large numbers, right? So think of a standard gold bar, the kind you see in movies.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
1 million ounces of gold is about 31,100 of those bars.
31,000 gold bars. That's insane.
And that's just the indicated resources. They also have a whopping 5.2 million ounces of inferred resources.
Wait, so that means over 150,000 gold bars, potentially.
You got it. It's like finding a giant treasure chest, but this treasure chest is filled with gold bars instead of jewels and doubloons.
And here's something even crazier I read in the Stockwatch report. All those gold findings, those potential gold bars, they're just from a small section of the entire project area, right?
You're right. They've only explored a tiny fraction of what they think might be gold-bearing.
How much have they explored versus what they think is there?
So far, they've looked at about 3.6 kilometers of a trend that they believe goes on for 35 kilometers.
Wow, so they're just scratching the surface then.
Exactly. There's a massive amount of potential still waiting to be unearthed.
And speaking of unearthing potential, the Stockwatch report also mentions something called a private placement. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so a private placement is basically when a company raises money by selling shares directly to specific investors.
So it's like a more exclusive way of raising capital.
Exactly. It's not like going public on the stock market. It's more about getting a smaller group of investors on board.
Got it. So why is that significant in Goldshore's case?
Well, they just secured a $12.5 million private placement.
$12.5 million. That's a huge vote of confidence from those investors.
Absolutely. In the world of mining, investors are always looking for signs of a solid project, and this private placement is definitely a good sign.
It seems like they're putting their money where their mouth is. So what's the plan with that big cash infusion? What's Goldshore going to do with it?
They've got a really smart plan laid out. It's a three-pronged approach to maximizing their chances of success.
Three-pronged. I like the sound of that. Tell me more. What are the three prongs?
First and foremost, they're going to be doing even more drilling this winter.
Even more. But I thought they already drilled like 8 Mount Everest's worth.
This time, they're doing targeted drilling based on what they've already found. They want to really define the size and quality of those gold deposits and figure out the best way to extract them.
Makes sense. So prong 1 is all about getting even more specific information. What's prong 2?
Prong 2 is about exploring the rest of that massive 35-kilometer trend.
So that's where the real treasure hunt begins, uncovering those other potential gold deposits.
Exactly. And finally, prong 3 is all about responsibility.
Responsibility. What do you mean by that?
Gold mining, like any resource extraction, has to be done responsibly. So they're investing a significant portion of the funds in environmental studies and moving forward with the permitting process.
That's great to hear. It's not just about digging up the gold, it's about doing it the right way.
You got it. They're committed to minimizing their environmental impact and working closely with local communities.
That's awesome. So we've talked about the company, the project, the gold, and even the financial side of things. But how does all this connect to the bigger picture? What does Goldshore's work mean in the context of, the global economy and stuff?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's a really important one to consider. It really is the million-dollar question, or maybe the multi-million-ounce question in this case.
Good point. So how does a gold mine in Ontario play into the global economy?
Well, we have to remember that gold isn't just for jewelry. It's a global commodity.
True. People talk about gold as a safe haven asset, right?
Exactly. When the economy is uncertain, like during times of inflation or global instability, people turn to gold as a safe bet.
So that demand drives up the price.
Exactly. So a successful gold mine like the Moss Project could become really valuable, especially if those economic trends continue.
That makes sense. But gold is used for more than just investments, right?
Oh, absolutely. Gold is a crucial material in all sorts of industries, from electronics and aerospace to even medicine.
Wow, I didn't realize it was used in so many different ways. And I'm guessing as technology keeps advancing, we'll need even more gold.
You're hitting on a really important point. As our reliance on technology grows and the global population continues to rise, that demand for gold is only going to increase.
Which means companies like Goldshore, if they play their cards right, won't just be sitting on a pile of gold, but a really crucial resource.
That's a great way to put it. They could become a vital part of the global supply chain.
It's fascinating how something like gold, a metal that's been sought after for centuries, is potentially even more important now than ever before.
It really makes you think about the bigger picture, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the specifics of Goldshore Resources and their Moss Gold project to the broader world of gold mining and its impact on the global economy.
It's been a fascinating dive.
I completely agree. As we wrap things up, is there any final thought you'd want to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is to remember that gold is much more than just a shiny metal. It's a fascinating lens through which we can view history, economics, even our own human desire for wealth and security.
That's a great point. And sometimes those valuable things, those golden opportunities, are hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered, just like Goldshore believes they've done with the Moss Project.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this incredible deep dive. It's been a pleasure picking your brain about all things gold.
The pleasure was all mine. Always happy to talk gold.
And for our listeners, remember to keep exploring, keep learning, and who knows, maybe you'll strike gold in your own way. Until next time.